Hello, Orange Nation. I'm Matt Friedman, class of 1994. I now co-own Tanner Friedman. We're a strategic communications and PR firm outside Detroit. It's great to be back on campus and talking about communications careers.
Well, clearly you have a voice for radio, my friend. That was an awesome introduction.
I wish every general manager I worked for agreed with that. Maybe I'd still be doing that. I don't know.
Awesome. So we're inside WJPZ, a place that's near and dear to your heart, though it didn't look this way when you first left the university, did it?
If they didn't have a window in here, I wouldn't know where I was. This is pretty amazing, and I think what the students now have, they now have the facility to match the product that has been on this campus now for almost 40 years. It's terrific.
Take me through a little. You left Newhouse and you followed the Newhouse typical path for a broadcast major, correct? You worked in TV for a while. Take me through that.
Sure. I had the good fortune to graduate at a time where TV news producers were in high demand. The TV news business was actually expanding at that time. So I ended up in a top 10 market out of school, which I was never expecting, and nobody should, because it rarely happens. But just was able to make the right networking connections to do that. So I started at WSB in Atlanta as a writer, then became a writer/producer, then got recruited to go to a TV station in Orlando, which at the time was WCPX, and was a producer there. I produced the 10 o'clock news and the noon news there, and then had a chance to go back to my hometown in Detroit, where I was a producer for WDIV, the 6 o'clock news. That was the highest rated newscast in Michigan at the time. It was a great opportunity, and after 2 more years of doing that, I decided that I didn't want to be in TV news anymore, but I did want to stay in Detroit, and I very much wanted to stay in communications, and I wanted to figure out a way that I could work for myself someday. So 15 years ago, that was 1998, I entered PR and was at a firm for quite a while, started as an account executive, and left as an equity partner, and Don Tanner and I started our firm in 2007.
Amazing. So now what's your day-to-day? I mean, I guess you can't say a typical day, but what does it mean to run a strategic communications firm for students who don't know?
I really have 2 jobs. Number one is I co-own a business and co-run the business. There are 8 of us full-time on staff, plus we have a network of contractors and freelance people we work with. So that's part of what I need to do. And then the other part is I work with clients every day, which I really enjoy, developing and executing communication strategies. So that's traditional PR, and it's social media, and it's marketing support tools. And it's really whatever they need to tell their stories and communicate their messages. We work a lot with private businesses and nonprofits and professional service firms. We also have a lot of experience in public corporations, big Fortune 500 companies you've heard of. And it's really about how to get their messages to the audiences that they want to reach. And a lot of that is traditional media, but now in this era, a lot of it is not traditional media. And it's a fun time to be creative and to work hard.
Last week you reached a big audience of our students on Working Orange, our new Twitter account. What were some of the messages? They were phenomenal, but some of the advice that you shared that day for students who may have missed it.
Well, thanks. I really enjoyed that opportunity, and I'm always happy to connect with students on Twitter at any time or whatever medium makes sense. What I was really trying to get everybody to understand is this is a time in PR and in the communications business where things are changing quickly, and you need to be nimble, and you need to be creative, and you need to have ideas. That presents great opportunities for young people entering the business, because we rely on younger people to come to the table with us and come up with ideas and new ways to help clients do what they do. However, they must be grounded in the fundamentals of communications. You have to be able to write, you have to be able to communicate in traditional ways and use that across new platforms. What I spent a lot of time with, though, on Working Orange is giving career advice, and I can't emphasize enough how important in the communications business networking is. The guy who went after me the day after me on Working Orange is in the IT business, where they have many more jobs than people qualified to fill them. It's the opposite in communications. It always has been. There's not a lot of on-campus recruiting, let's face it, and there's not a lot of people getting jobs 3 months before graduation. And the way typically that you're going to get the opportunities you want throughout your career, not only get that first job, but to build your career, is through networking. And you've got some great tools now to be able to do that. You should use them. Don't be afraid to contact an alum who does what you want to do and ask them to talk to you about what they do. Clearly, you're seeing this right here. Alumni, we like to talk about what we do. You as a student should take advantage of that.
How about students who think that once they graduate, the only places they can possibly live would be New York City and Los Angeles, or maybe Boston, or perhaps somewhere else sexy like that? What's your message to them about?
I appreciate you asking me about that. It's one of my favorite topics
I
here
know
at Syracuse. Is, you know, I'm afraid we're often considered the flyover states, anywhere between New York and LA. And guess what? We do real communications in the middle of the country too. We think we do it really well. We can make a living in everything. And my advice to students is to not only figure out where you want to live, but where the best opportunities are for you from a career perspective. And that may not be in New York and LA, where it's really expensive to live and it's really crowded. The whole big fish, small pond thing might work for you. And you might be able to live a whole lot better on an entry-level salary in a smaller place and have more responsibility at the same time. So I would say to students, don't just think about place. Think about place and opportunity together. And there's a lot of places in this country where you can do communications and have a fulfilling career and have a fulfilling lifestyle at the same time.
And if it happens to be Detroit, reach out to @Matt Frieds, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to do that, but I'm happy to talk to or communicate with students from just about anywhere. This is a tough time right now for students trying to figure out what they want to do and how they want to do it and where they want to do it. The business is changing fast, and I think alumni, we need to be the resources to help students figure this all out and make these decisions.
Fabulous. Matt Friedman, class of '94. Thanks so much, Matt.
My pleasure. This is fun.
You bet.